Hello and how are you? My name is Mohindo Mubarak and I welcome you to our first video of creating an e-commerce web application. In fact, a complete e-commerce web application using plain PHP. When I say plain PHP, I mean we will not use any framework like Coordinator or Laravel. It's just going to be plain code of PHP. It's going to be a long journey, but I hope you're strong and motivated enough to start with me from this very first video up to the very last video until we say that we are really done with the whole project. It's not going to be a simple project, as I said, but I'll explain concepts step by step so that with good practices, so that you should understand everything and you'll be able to do what? To implement it in your real world application. So let's get started with this journey. So in the very first place, I would like to tell you that we are going to use a bootstrap template, meaning that we will not worry about writing our own CSS or coding our own HTML. Our whole focus will be on creating the PHP code logic so that this template that is having static files should be able to do a complete shop that can solve real world problems. Okay, so let's get started. So in the very first place, I'll tell you that you should download the template, and I've put the link to download this template in the description of this video. So what you need to do, just go to the description of this video, find the link and download the template of Bootstrap. That will be the first step that you will do. Then after downloading the template of Bootstrap, it will come in zipped format. So what you'll do, you'll have to unzip it, and once you unzip it, you'll have something like this, just pieces of HTML files. So if you open a single HTML file, you'll be getting something like this. Okay, you'll have something like this. So now once we have our template in our computers, the next thing that we'll have to do, you're going to open our Visual Studio Code. In fact, I'll hope that you already have Visual Studio Code installed in your computer. So I'm going to open my Visual Studio Code. If you don't have it, then I recommend you to download it right now. And then after opening my Visual Studio Code, I'm going to load the template into this Visual Studio Code. So I'll go ahead and get the file that I've just unzipped. Okay, the file of template that you have unzipped, the folder, drag and drop it in your into your Visual Studio Code. So once you drag and drop it in your Visual Studio Code, you'll have something like this. Okay, you'll have the files or the templates that I've just shared with you in the file like this one. Okay, so the next thing that you'll have to do is now to create a fresh project, the one that you're going to program with. Okay, the one that you're going to put the logic of creating now an e-commerce project. So at this level, I'll assume that you already know the basics of PHP. If you don't know the basics of PHP, you'll find the playlist in the description of this video or in the card that I've just shown on the screen. Click on that playlist and go ahead and first learn the basic PHP. I've already taught basic PHP from 0 up to the place where you can even communicate with database. If you're really new, I recommend you to first watch those videos, and the link I've put in the description or somewhere in this video. So first watch those videos, practice all of them, then you can come here. But if you already know basics of PHP, you know what is meant by htdocs, you know what is meant by XAMPP, my PHPMyadmin, if you already know all those, then you may not need to do to watch that playlist. But if you don't know what's meant by htdocs, please find the playlist on this screen or in the bottom or in the description of this video and first learn the basics of PHP. So with that said, it means that at least small concepts like htdocs, I'll not need to do to explain them. So let me go ahead and open my htdocs folder and create a fresh project. This is my htdocs folder. I hope everyone knows what's meant by htdocs and they can navigate up to htdocs. So this is my htdoc folder. The next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to create here a fresh folder for my project. Okay, so you have to determine which name you want to give your project. So mine, I'm going to call it eShop or electronic shop. Okay, so I'll just simply come here. What have I done? Okay, I'll just simply come here and create a new folder in my htdocs folder. Come here and just say new folder, and I'm going to call it e-shop, electronic shop. Okay, so this is the folder that I've just created right now. So the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm also going to open it. I'm also going to open it in what? In in Visual Studio Code. I'll drag and drop this folder into Visual Studio Code. Now I have two folders. One is that of HTML. I have now two things opened. I have that one of template or bootstrap template, and then the second one is our htdocs folder that I've just created right now. So I'm going to go ahead and create my first file of PHP by simply coming this htdocs folder and create a new file that I'm going to call index.php. So I'm just going to say here test home. Okay, and then I'm going to try to run this project and see if it works. So I'll assume you have started your XAMPP. So let's go ahead and run the project by opening new file and then say localhost stroke e-shop. Okay, so you can see we have there test home. Okay, test home. So it means that our folder is working, or our project is working. So I hope that you can also reach this place or this point without too much problems. Okay, so once after testing our folder is working, so the next thing is to now create the home page of our project. Okay, the home page of our project. Now to create the home page of our project, we'll first determine which file we want to put here in the home page. So to do that, you just first come to your template, open your template. By the way, you can open your template by just clicking the folder that I just opened to you, unzip it, and then click on any file there. You'll be able to navigate to your full template. So I'm going to do it to determine, these are the home pages that come with our template. I'm going to determine which home page I want to use. Let us say I want to use this home page. Okay, I'm going to use this home page. So what I'll do, I'm going to see the name of this home page, which is called home fashion store. Then I'm going to look for this file in what? In our template. So I'll come to the Visual Studio Code template folder and then look for this file that we just opened, which is home fashion. So I'll come to home-fashion, which is here, home fashion, this file. Okay, so I'm going to copy this file, select everything in that file, and then come to our project where it is here, select everything and paste. So I've pasted here the home file. Okay, the file that we need for to be on our home page. So let's go ahead and see what we've got now on our home page of our project. I'll just simply come to the project here and refresh. Okay, it is working, but it's not working as we expected. Okay, you can see things have come, everything is there, but there's no CSS files that are supposed to organize this code. Of course, that is what we expected. Why? Because I've not put the folders that have the CSS files here. So assets file. So let's go ahead and create now and put those assets file in this project of ours, so we can have everything well set. So I'll come to our htdocs folder. So I'll come to our folder of template, which is this one. This is the template, and these are the files that are inside the template. So I'm going to select everything here. I'm going to select all the folders, the assets file folders, not everything, but only the assets folders. Copy them. They're just simply pressing Ctrl+C. Okay, copy them. Then after copying them, those assets folders that are in the template, the next thing we're going to go now to our htdocs folder, the eShop folder, this one for PHP there, and we're going to paste just what have I done? What have I done? eShop, it is here, right? Okay, it is here, this one. So I'm going to select these assets folder, copy them, then come to this eShop folder, the one that you put in htdocs, our project, and then I'm going to paste there on its root. I'm going to paste there the assets folders there. Okay, so I've pasted them there. Now you can go ahead and refresh. Okay, so if you come to your assets, if you come to your project, the one that you're creating, you should be able to see these folders added. So let's go ahead and refresh now our project. Boom, it's working now. You can see our project is working great now. That is so great, and that is a big achievement. Okay, so you can see our PHP project is working. So that is the first step done. So the next step that we're going to do is to now organize this project into what? Into sections, okay? Because you realize that every page will have the section of home page, now the section of content, and the section of footer. So it will be very wise if we put home page in one file. It will be very wise if you put the header in one file and then the footer in another file, and then we'll be just changing this content so that we don't repeat ourselves. So let's go ahead and do that logic of putting footer in one file and then header, of putting footer in one file and header in what? In another file. To do that, we'll just simply come here to our project. So the files that we're going to be reusing, we are going to create a fresh folder here. We're going to call it files, and in that files we're going to put the files that we'll be reusing, because it is very, very important to reuse files in a web project to avoid you repeating yourself. So let's go ahead and put this folder here. This folder is called files. Okay, I'll put there a folder called files. Okay, so in that files folder, this is where we're going to be putting the files that we'll be reusing. Eh? So I'll just go ahead and right click and say new file inside that folder, and I'm going to call this one header.php. Okay, so in that header.php file is where I'm going to put all these pieces of file up to this header here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do what? And go to our header here, and then come to this file. Come to our index, and then I see where the header starts and where it stops. So to do that with Visual Studio Code, you can even collapse here. Okay, you can collapse these files so they can have enough working space. You can collapse this also, these tags. So go ahead and collapse this tag of head. So this tag of head is the main head. Go ahead and collapse this tag of modal. So this tag of modal, this is a sign up modal, the login modal. Go ahead and collapse this tag of quick view. Go ahead and not quick view, not there, will have collapsed the whole main, but go ahead and collapse this tag of quick view. Okay, go ahead and collapse this tag of head. Okay, this is the header now, here up to here where there's the word hero slider. So our header stops, you can press here enter so you can separate the two. Our header stops here at hero slider. So let's go ahead and cut it. So I'll select everything up to top. I cut it by pressing Ctrl X and save. Then come to our header file. This is the header file that we just created here. Come to the header file and paste there the whole header. So we've pasted there the header file, the content in the header file here. So that's beautiful. And now the next thing, as we said, we have also to put the footer in a separate file, so we should not repeat ourselves. So I'll just simply come here and create another file called footer. New file, I'm going to call it footer.php. So that's our file of what? Of footer. So after doing that, let's go ahead and look for the footer file. So I'll collapse this section, I'll collapse this section, I'll collapse this section. You see in the index, I'm going to collapse these different sections, and you can see they have comments until you find the section of what? Of footer. So the footer section is here. The footer section is here. So this main tag, I'm also going to cut it because it's already also in the header. So I'm going to start here from where there is main here, the closing tag of main, and up to bottom. Okay, up to the bottom part. Cut it. So I've cut all the bottom part beginning from the closing main tag. Let me show it to you again. I've started from here at the main, where the main, because this main is already in the header, so I'll just also do the same here. I collapse the footer and I cut from here, from the closing tag of main up to the end. Okay, so that's very important. So it means that this is the only dynamic information that will be changing. So I'll go ahead and paste that piece of code in the footer file. Okay, So I've put that piece of code in the in the footer file. So if you come and refresh our website, of course things are going to look weird. Why? Because we don't have the headers and footers. Okay, so things look a little bit disorganized. So let's go ahead and include now the header and footer in our index file. So to do that, I'll just simply come here on top of our index file and open another tag of PHP. I'll open a tag of PHP, close it, and then here is where I'm going to put now the line that is going to call our footer, our header. So let's go ahead and do that by just simply saying require once, okay, require underscore once, and open the tag. And in that tag, you're going to put the location where this file of header is, okay, the path. So the path is going to be files stroke header.php and then close. It is file stroke header.php. So let's go ahead and add the footer. So the footer will be in the bottom. I'll just simply come to the bottom of the file. You see, I'm in index file. I'll copy the same thing, and then I change this one to what? To footer.php. So now after doing that, I will now know that I've included the footer and the header. Then if I come and refresh, things should look beautiful. Things should look nice, that I have successfully included the header and the footer. So that is amazing. We have included the header, we've included the footer, and only what's remaining is now to start changing the dynamic content. So that's great. That's really great. Now we can go to the next thing now. That's really great. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the next thing. So the next thing that we're going to do, we are going to be developing something per require. When we need something is when we do it. So let's begin with the login logic, how we can create the login logic, registration and login logic. So when you want to register, you click here, of course, and then you see we have the sign up and the register. So this is the sign up. So to sign up, someone will have to give us their name, their email, and their password, and they confirm the password. So by doing like that, then we'll be able to do what? To create the sign up logic. So let's go ahead and create this sign up logic. Okay? So to sign up, I'll go ahead and create the database. Okay, database first, because when someone submits this information, it's going to be saved in what? In database. So let's go ahead and do that by just simply opening a new tab here and go to localhost / PHPMyadmin. At this point, you should be knowing what is meant by PHPMyadmin. So you're going to create here another fresh database that we're going to be saving our data for this shop. So let's go ahead and create a new database by clicking on new and call it e-shop, electronic shop, I don't know. So that's it. That's how then we have the database. Now we click on the database and add there our first table. Okay, add there the first table, and you know what's this table going to be about? It's going to be called users table. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So this users table, let's see the information that we're going to collect. The first thing that we're going to collect in the users table is the ID, and this ID is going to be an integer, and always make it auto incrementing. So it means that it is a primary key and it will be automatically increasing. So the next thing that we're going to do is to add the name of this user. Okay, shall we need okay, let us add the first and last name. First underscore name of this user, and then it will be a variable character of 255, and then by default it will be null. Okay, or you can just say by default is null, or you can just mark here saying it is nullable. So that's the first name, and the last name is going to be last underscore name, variable character of 255 to 55, and it's going to be nullable. The next thing is going to be username. It's going to be variable character of 255. It's going to be nullable. And the other thing is going to be passwords. It's going to be password. Password, of course. Password. It's going to be text field, and can be null, of course. So it's going to be text field because we don't know how long the password character can be. Characters. So after the password, the next thing that we're going to have now we're going to have the username, password, blah, 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 maybe phone number and email. Phone number, let's make this one a variable character of 255 and it can be nullable, and then maybe email address, phone number, variable character of 255 and can also be nullable, and maybe the address of this person, variable character of text, okay, 255 and nullable. Then the most important part is the user type. Is this person is this person a customer or a what? An admin or an administrator. We can go ahead and add even more columns, okay? And maybe this more column, this is where we can have details about this person, but is it necessary? Let's leave the details. What else shall we record about the person? Maybe the day when they joined, created, okay? And that one can also be a variable character or an integer, no problem. Variable character of 255. Okay, so that is the table that you're going to use to collect the information about the user. So let's go ahead and save this table by clicking on save. Okay, save. So we have a first table of users there. Okay, so after having the first table of users, now the next thing is now to work on the logic of inserting the user who was registered. So let's go ahead here and do that logic of registration. So let's go ahead and do that logic of registration. When it comes to forms, it becomes a little bit complex thing that you have to work with. First of all, let me first see if we don't have a registration file here. I see we have it. We have here registration, an account file, because I didn't want to use this model, because this model can confuse you for the beginning. We will use it later. So you see we have a sign up file here. So we're going to create a special account for sign up. A special file for signing in, because if we use this model for now, it's going to confuse you, but we'll implement it after finishing this straight one. We'll implement it after finishing this straight one. So let's go ahead and create a login page. So this is our project. We're going to create a file for login, okay, login.php or signin.php. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is our project, and we're going to create a new file. I'm going to call it login.php. Okay, now as you know, we have to first include the header and the footer. So I'll go ahead and put the header and then the footer. Okay, the footer. So the login, the footer, and then here we're going to put here login logic here. Login UI user interface. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how this is. Go ahead and refresh here our shop, and then put stroke login.php. Okay, so there we are. You see, the login.php is here. So after doing that, let's go ahead and put the interface of login. Okay, login and registration. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll just simply come to our project here and look for account sign in. This template, we'll come to the template and look for account sign in. So everything about account is just saved as account. Okay, account sign in. So we're going to look where after the header. So let's go ahead and search the header tag in this, Ctrl F, header, and try to put here maybe the closing part. Okay, so our header stops here, right? Our header stops here. So I'm going to collapse this container, and it's the one that I'm going to put the other side. So I'll copy this part only. You see, I copy up to main this part. I just first collapse it, and I don't put the header tag and the main tag because this one's already in footer. So let's go ahead and paste this piece of code in our sign-in page. This piece of code, I'll come and remove everything here and put this piece of code in this sign-in page. Save, come and refresh. Everything is okay. You see, everything is okay. we have the logins there. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to do, now we're going to do the logic of submitting this login page. Okay, the logic of submitting this login page. So now let's go ahead and work on this account creation form first. So you're having first name, so I'll come to my project and look for first name by just pressing Ctrl F and first name. So I'll know first name is collected at this point. Okay, so in this label, I'm going to give the name of this input. I'm going to give it a name and I'm going to call it first underscore name. Okay, so that is very important, this name. Otherwise, if you don't put the name, then that input will be ignored. So the next input is going to be last name by just simply coming here to this input. Make sure that you point at input and give this one a name, and we're going to call it last underscore name. Okay, so that's important. So the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to put the email address. So we're going to come here in the input of email address, name, I'm going to call it email. So that's done. So the next thing that we're going to do now, we're going to put here the phone number. Do we need the phone number to registration? Is that too much? Okay, let's go ahead and provide it. Phone number. So I'm going to give here name and call it phone underscore number. And then after doing that, the next thing that you're going to do, you're going to collect the password. Okay, password, name underscore password. Make sure that you put this one in the inputs. So password. Then the last thing that you're going to do, also password, name. So this one for confirmation. Password underscore 1. This one for confirmation. Okay, so the most important thing that you also have to do, you have to specify this form. It is a post form, not a get form. So I'll click in the tag of form and then come to where the form begins, and then give it a name, a method of post. Means going to be a post form. Someone will post. And then what's the next thing that you have to do? The next thing that you'll have to do is specify where this form should be submitted to, right? Is specify where this form should be submitted to. So I don't know how we're going to do that, but we can create another separate file where we're going to handle the login logic. Okay, login logic. So I don't know how we'll call the file, but we can, that's the concept, like the logic of login should be handled in another file. So you can call it login backend, login logic, or whatever. Let's go and call it login logic. Okay, so I'll just simply create a new file and call it login logic.php. So that is the place logic. Now this is the place where we're going to handle the login logic for logging in. Okay, so let's come here back to login user interface and specify the action, meaning where the login should be, where this form should be submitted. We say it's going to be submitted at login logic. Okay, so this login logic is where we're going to be handling everything that has been submitted here. So let's go ahead and try to submit now our first form. So I'll refresh here and then come and do what? And start here submit the information. So I'll put here the first name, Mohindo, the last name, that, email, mohindo@gmail.com, password 1234, password 1234, and then I sign up. When I submit, you can see our form has been submitted here. Let us dump and see if what has been submitted has been received. PHP, and then say echo, and put here maybe a pre-tag, and then try to dump everything, print underscore r, and then let us go ahead and dump everything that has come in the post like this. Save. Now if you come and refresh and then say resubmit, you see everything that was submitted from the form, the login form or the registration form, has been received. That's great, and that's enough for this video. Let us meet in the next video where we're going to proceed from there by registering this user and also logging this user in so that he can also start performing the action. See you in the next video. I hope you'll not miss. And remember to subscribe, by the way. Subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you should not miss the next videos that we'll post. I hope. So goodbye. And remember to subscribe.